Hello, ladies and gentlemen. When you come in today, you are going to work on 5 interactive notebook entries. One entry is the Middle Ages vocabulary foldable. The other one, the Roman Catholic Church and Medieval Society. The third one, the medieval manor system. The fourth one, the feudal system. And the fifth and the last one, knights and chivalry. Okay, so when you come in the classroom, there will be a performance objective on the board. You're going to place that performance objective at the top of your first page after you've cut everything out. So let's look at your instructions for the first interactive notebook page. Okay, so the first one is Middle Ages vocabulary, foldable. The directions are: cut out this foldable graphic organizer along the dotted lines and then fold and glue it into your notebook. Underneath each term, write a definition in your own words on one side and then draw a picture to represent the term on the other side of the flap. If you notice here, because I'm on the first page, I've written the performance objective you see on the board at the very top. Students will be able to read and analyze text in order to document and discuss the roles of social, political, and economic figures during the medieval period. You'll also notice that I actually did cut out the interactive notebook foldable. You'll notice that hot dog style, I went ahead and I folded it so that only half the page is going to show. Then I pasted it down. So if you look here, half is pasted down and half is movable. All right, so on the inside, underneath each flap, you're going to go ahead and write the definition right here inside, and then you'll draw a picture on the inside of this flap. You can see my finger. So the picture will go here, the definition goes there. For the second one, the picture goes here, the definition goes there. So that's the first interactive notebook entry. The second interactive notebook entry is the Roman Catholic Church and Medieval Society. For this one, the directions are always at the top of the page. The directions are: the Roman Catholic Church grew in importance during the Middle Ages and became a unifying force in Western Europe. Cut out the medieval cathedral below and glue the top down so that 3 flaps at the bottom can be lifted. Then describe the Catholic Church's role in each aspect of society on your notebook page beneath the flaps. So pay attention. The dotted lines for this one are right here along the edges, right here. There are also some dotted lines between the 3 columns at the bottom. So if you look, there's some dotted lines here, and there's some dotted lines right there. Okay. So here's my example. Already cut out and pasted. So I have the title at the top, and then I have the actual interactive notebook item that can be, I can't hold it correctly. All right, so for this one, you have 3 flaps that can be lifted. And you see them right here. They can be lifted. All right? This part here should be completely glued down. All right, for the third one, the medieval manor system. A feudal system developed in Europe during the Middle Ages based around the medieval manor. Draw a typical medieval manor in the space below. Be sure to include each aspect listed and cut along the dotted lines so that you can then describe each aspect beneath on your notebook paper. For this one, before you start cutting anything out, you want to go ahead and draw in an example of a medieval manor, the layout of a manor. I'm going to show you that right now. But also keep in mind the dotted lines for this one are along the edges in the, the rectangle. And then you have some dotted lines here in between. All right, so here's my example. Okay, so notice how I have placed the title at the top for this interactive notebook, and then I have the movable parts at the bottom here. So with this one, you'll notice that I drew a common or a typical medieval manor on the entire page. Then afterwards, I cut the area. So I cut around the perimeter, and then I cut the flaps, creating 6 flaps on around the foldable. Sorry, I'm just stumbling over my words right now. Okay, so what you need to do is in the middle here, for about 1 inch, you're going to glue down that middle part. Then you'll be able to have the 6 flaps, 3 on this side and 3 on this side. You can see it. I use 2 hands here. Okay, and that's the third one. For the fourth one, we have the feudal system. The directions again are at the top. The dominant social system in Europe during the Middle Ages was feudalism. Cut out the pyramid below and then fold and glue it along the left side so that 4 flaps can be lifted up. Draw pictures on top of each to represent each group, or at least that group. Then describe each group on your notebook underneath. Finally, around the pyramid, show how each group was connected and supported each other. All right, this is a trickier one. So with this one, when you cut it out, keep it in mind that this flap over here is going to be glued underneath the main pyramid or the main triangle. All right, so you notice here, this is what it should look like when the pages are closed. Let's see. Okay, so when you open it up, you will notice that I have gone ahead and I've traced out the triangle. And then I also added areas in between so that you can write information about the king, the nobles, the knights and vassals, and the serfs. So that would be 4 areas, but I added an extra area at the very bottom here because you have to explain how all 4 of those groups are connected. So that's the feudal system. Lastly, we have knights and chivalry. So for knights and chivalry, directions are, some of the more iconic images of the Middle Ages are the knights who lived by the code of chivalry. First, cut out the graphic organizer below and paste it down under the top so that 3 flaps come up. Then define chivalry and give an example in the top space. Then draw a picture of each person on the top of the flaps and define them and what they did on your notebook page underneath. All right, so here's my example, and this is the last example. I have my title at the very top, which I went ahead and just cut out. I cut out along the dotted lines around the bottom for the actual interactive notebook entry. Sorry. And then I have a little problem here. I have my case that my phone is in. The flap keeps wanting to fall. Okay. So you'll notice that this part is completely glued down. The bottom part only can be lifted. So you have 3 areas that can be lifted. 1, 2, 3. Okay? And that is it. So what I want you to remember is that, I'm going to turn the video now, sorry. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so you have 5. This is number 1, place it number 1 at the bottom here. Number 2 is the Roman Catholic Church. Number 2 is at the very lower right-hand corner of the page. Number 3 is the medieval manor system. Number 3 in the lower right-hand corner of the page. And number 4, the feudal system. You'll see number 4 in the lower right-hand corner of the page as well. And lastly, knights and chivalry. You'll see number 5 in the lower right-hand corner of the page. All right, I hope you enjoyed and learned a lot from it. And I will see you in class either today or I'll see you in class tomorrow. Enjoy.